about a slaughterhouse? House of slaughter. Slaughterhouse. Do you really think there is such a thing as humane slaughter? Exactly what is your definition of humane? Besides psychological and physical abuse, torture, dismemberment, and murder, what else do you think happens to animals inside of a slaughterhouse? Do you think they get belly rubs and tushy slaps? You better believe that somebody told us to ignore their suffering, to mock and excuse their pain and their misery, to make fun of their very existence. And this is something I want you to focus on, today, tomorrow, and beyond. What in the hell happened along the way? Who taught us to be so mean and nasty and vicious and hateful or indifferent towards animals when they used to be our friends? These are innocent beings who have done nothing wrong to us. Welcome to the slaughterhouse.
¿Quieres saber por qué estamos aquí? Estamos protestando para que no hayan slaughterhouses aquí en la ciudad de Denver. Esta es la única que hay y estamos buscando que se apruebe una medida para que la gente pueda votar en si tener slaughterhouses como Superior Farms aquí en Denver o no. El circo más contaminado de Estados Unidos.
¿Tú quieres que haga? Yo nomás vengo a trabajar.
No, yo sé. Y me imagino que una vez que aprobamos esta ley, que posiblemente ojalá la hagamos, puedas conseguir otro trabajo.
Dale. Mira, carnal, no problema, yo no quiero.
No,
yo nomás vengo a trabajar.
Solo te estamos informando, no te preocupes. Para
yo
nada.
dile a los encargados.
No te preocupes, no es ningún problema. Simplemente estamos aquí también para mostrar a la gente que se puede vivir sin esto. Todos nosotros estamos aquí, tenemos años sin comer animales. Me imagino que has visto cosas allá adentro que son difíciles, que son perturbantes.
Pero yo no sé,
¿Tú tienes tiempo trabajando acá? ¿Y qué tal tu experiencia? ¿Preferirías otro trabajo o...?
Mira, yo mientras me paguen todo está bien, carnal.
Okay.
Aquí estamos para...
Claro, para trabajar, claro. Entiendo. Sí, yo también lo haría.
Trabajamos para comer, ¿no?
Claro. Pero si tuvieses la opción de otro trabajo, ¿preferirías este o preferirías otro? Que los dos paguen igual.
Si me pagan más en otro, en otro.
Ok. Y si tuviese dos que te pagan igual y el otro no es un matadero, es otro tipo de trabajo.
Sí. A mí si me consigues uno que pague más y no sea matadero, no hay problema.
Ok.
Dale. Primo, ¿qué hace? ¿De dónde barracón?
It's a little bit complicated because employees in here, he says that he works in this company because he just found the work. And if he finds any other job that pays him more, he'll definitely take it. Even if it's not a slaughterhouse, he has no preference for working on a slaughterhouse. He didn't seem that he was bothered by working on one, but he wasn't that open to talk because he thinks that he may get in trouble. So he just shared that he will work anywhere on which it pays better. I told him about the ballot measure that we're looking to include here in Denver, and hopefully that it gets approved and then people vote out to ban slaughterhouses in Denver. And eventually, hopefully, he'll have to get a different job. He just started here, so he has seen things inside that he's not a fan of, but he just do it for work.
Did he mention anything specifically that holds him back from obtaining another type of work?
No, actually he didn't.
Okay.
He just started here, and I don't know how long he was looking for a job, but he definitely doesn't seem bothered by it, but doesn't want to talk much because he thinks he may get in trouble.
Ramifications from his employers.
Yeah.
Did he say how long he's been working there?
No.
No.
But it seemed like he just started this year.
Okay.
From what he said.
Well, the conversation is
Most of
very
the
valuable.
Yeah, most of the employees here speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And we don't know about their legal status, but anything can happen in these slaughterhouses.
Yeah.
There are no stories of other slaughterhouses, and this might be not a different story.
Beautiful. So why are you out here today?
because the animals deserve someone to speak up for them.
What kind of animals do they murder here?
They murder lambs. So this is really awful. You know, if you imagine yourself in their position, you would want the same being done for you that we're out here doing today. You would actually want more. You would want people to break in and save you. But, you know, unfortunately, people pretend like they don't hear animals. It's not like they don't have a voice. You know, they scream and cry. They don't know what they're going. They're scared. If you've ever had a pet at home, you know exactly what animals are thinking. You know, it's not like they try to hide it. But here, people pretend not to listen. They pretend to look the other way, and they fund these industries. So anytime someone goes out and buys meat, you know, this is what they're funding. They're funding animal abuse.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think they stay willfully ignorant?
Because it's comfortable for them. You know, they don't want to be ridiculed by their family and friends. They don't want to have to change things that they're already doing. They prefer if the cause was, you know, just having an opinion, you know, slaughterhouses should be shut down. And rather than taking the steps to do it, you know, getting out on the street, even just not paying people to produce these kinds of products, I think it's in their comfort zone to just keep doing what they're always doing. And I think that's really sad because, you know, imagine if you were in their position, all you would have to do, and you ask someone, like, why are you keeping me here? Why do you keep funding my abuser? And somebody responded, oh, it just tastes good. You know, and they might not even know what vegan food tastes like or plant-based foods taste like. They might not have even tried to go vegan before.
One's own pleasure is no moral justification to slit someone's throat,
Yeah,
whether
exactly.
human or non-human. You kind of mentioned, you know, not supporting this sort of thing with your hard-earned dollar is an action within itself, right? It's
totally.
an inaction that is actually an action. You don't have to be out here necessarily on a street corner doing this, but you can take action by not participating in this supply and demand system, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what kind of other issue would we accept the justification of, oh, I just like doing it, you know?
Yeah.
If someone's beating me over the head and they turn around you and say, oh, you know, you don't need to stop me, I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
It's just, it's the same thing. Like, it's very obvious now, like, the research is out there that we can survive totally fine, usually even better even, on a plant-based diet.
Absolutely. All right, man, I appreciate you being out here.
Cool.
You're a hero, thank you. What's up, guys? Would you care to have an interview on why we're out here? No? So you can see the workers walking out of this facility here, covered in blood, covered in the blood of the innocent, of lambs and goats. The one worker expressed that he's only working here because he couldn't find employment elsewhere. What will they do in the future when we achieve animal liberation? When these jobs don't exist, when this industry doesn't exist? They're going to have to adapt and overcome and find other employment. So that's certainly not an excuse. Monetary gain is certainly not an excuse to slit someone else's throat. It wouldn't justify other forms of injustice. It wouldn't justify an injustice against a human. Why would it justify an injustice against a non-human animal? One who can feel pain and suffering just like us. One who has similarities just like us. One who wants to live and values their life and values their family just like us. We've been out here for almost an hour now, waiting for a truck to come by with live animals, with live slaves. And someone had tipped them off. The police showed up, and we believe they're holding the trucks back. We're hoping to outlast them. They can't hold the trucks back forever because it's halting work here. Work, in other words, slitting someone's throat for a paycheck. So you're local to the Denver area, is that correct?
I'm about an hour north in the
Okay.
area where most of the sheep come from. What you're seeing behind us right now, you're seeing a lot of workers out on lunch. They usually come out to where I'm standing, go to some of the food trucks, and after work, you know, there's a liquor store across the street and everything. And it's a pretty busy street for today. It's usually not quite this busy, but it's a pretty busy street. It's an industrial area. But also behind us, you see this white truck that's got this, like, not necessarily a semi front cab to it, but a little bit smaller, and that's the gut truck that they back up when they take things that are not for human consumption. And you also see that there's some orange lines in the road that go down both sides of the fence. That's a public road, but we don't know if it's closed off. At one time, they did buy the rights to shut the road off. But
So as someone who's local to this area and who's an animal rights activist, how long have you been at this campaign? How long have you been coming out here to this?
I've been coming out here for quite a few years.
Yeah.
And early on, we'd wait for the trucks. Sometimes we'd wait till midnight, 1 a.m. but we were able to get really, really close to the trucks. And I took a lot of beautiful photos, and one even became my tattoo. Became a tattoo for me, which is one of my most favorite.
And what do you think the value is in catching footage of these animals in their own feces, in their own urine on these trucks?
I don't think there's much value in it straight up, but now that we have a campaign against slaughterhouses in Denver, I think it's going to be very, very useful in convincing people that are not in this Globeville neighborhood, not directly experiencing the problems of having workers come home with PTSD, with violence, just seeing all this horrific action all day long, and the people that are trying to grow things in their garden or playing in the park over here and having to smell it, having dead ground.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about an area where there exist slaughterhouses. You know, people who work in slaughterhouses generally have higher rates of depression, PTSD, alcoholism, drug abuse.
I've definitely
violent
seen
crimes.
the drugs being passed around on their lunch breaks when I've come by myself before a
Yeah,
vigil.
they're self-medicating,
And,
right, to get through their shift.
Exactly, and there's also a really, really nice, beautiful bike path behind there, which a lot of homeless people live, and we try to help them out a little bit too when we can and clean up their area.
Okay.
They're definitely not excited that they have to be next to such a beautiful river and be next to this horrific action.
Do you think there's value though in catching footage of these animals on the truck and sharing those images to social media?
Oh, 100%.
So that people who still pay for this see it?
100%. Even the people in the industry will tell you, I love my dog, I love my cat, I love my horses, I love whatever I've got at home. But they kind of disconnect it when it becomes a dollar value. When it
Sure.
becomes the grocery store and I walk in and I just buy burgers, I don't buy the cow.
Yeah. When they see that neatly wrapped package, they forget that flesh belonged to somebody who
Exactly
suffered and died and
I
wanted
did
to
that.
live.
I did that for a good 22 years of my life as well. So
Yeah, I did it for 33.
I'm definitely complicit in the violence at one point.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get out of that and teach other people how to be better people.
Well, thank you so much for being out here.
Thank
You're a
you for
hero.
being here yourself too.
Yeah. So some of the locals mentioned that it seems to be about an hour early for their lunch break. So maybe the supervisors have told them to take lunch a little bit early. These guys didn't want to have an interview. Guys, are you sure you don't want to have an interview? I think they're pretty sure. I'll continue to interview these animal rights activists, so hopefully you can get something from their perspective. We're out here still waiting for a truck to come by so we can show you what you're paying for if you're not yet vegan. All right, let me see your sign there. Hey, so why are you out here today?
I'm out here to speak up for the animals, just try to represent, see if we can get some people to stop, abusing them.
Yeah, and how powerful do you think it is when a slaughter truck comes by and we are able to capture images?
I think it's really good because a lot of people don't get to see that side of the industry. They always see a finished product. They always see this really nice wrapped up, this very well advertised meat product. But we get to show actually that meat product that you have was someone who's screaming for their life before it and tortured beforehand. So I think it's pretty effective.
And do you foresee, how old are you?
I'm 30.
Do you foresee in your lifetime these slaughterhouses no longer existing?
I do. Honestly, I'm an optimist whenever it comes to this. I feel like that, it's already been such a big push and, we see a lot of change happening in the economy when it comes to this and just people's minds. So hopefully we can just keep on getting the message out, sharing what's going on to the victims, and that more people will make ethical choices to it.
If people keep demanding these products, will they keep supplying these products?
Yeah, that's it. We live in a supply and demand economy, so as that supply goes down, as that demand goes down, the supply will be able to cut off. They just won't be able to do anything with what they're creating, and this really isn't somewhere where people want to work anyways. You can't imagine a child growing up and oh yeah, whenever I grow up, I want to work in a slaughterhouse and kill a whole bunch of animals where it smells like poo.
Right.
So.
Yeah, so as a consumer, you don't necessarily have to stand out on a street corner with a sign. As a consumer, you have a lot of power in your pocket, right?
Exactly.
When you vote with your dollar. If you discontinue that vote with your dollar, with your hard-earned dollar, and you stop demanding these products, they will eventually stop supplying these products. And that's an action in and of itself. I appreciate you being out here. You're a hero. Thank you.
I appreciate you for being out here too, and y'all are heroes whenever you make the switch.
So you're local to the Denver area. How many years have you been coming out here and protesting this slaughterhouse?
Probably about 5 years now.
Wow.
We used to come out bi-weekly. It's easy to get burned out, you know,
Sure.
you cry till you can't cry anymore. And so a lot of people do fade away for a while. And I'm so glad we're back here and doing these vigils at Superior Farms. It's not just for the animals, it's for the people.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I was just talking to another activist about the conditions inside these slaughterhouses and how they exploit and take advantage of these workers as well.
Right.
We were talking to one worker, and he said the only reason he was working here is because he couldn't find employment elsewhere.
I'm sure that's true, especially if you're not a resident of this country.
Sure,
It's
and they'll
pretty
exploit
tough.
that, won't they?
Absolutely they
Yeah.
will, every chance they can get.
So have you seen any changes in the 5 years that you've been doing this?
Oh yeah. We used to be able to walk right up to the trucks,
Uh-huh.
take pictures and even pet them a little bit, but they put up the sign and now no trespassing is allowed.
Yeah, they bought part of the road, is that correct?
They bought part of the road. There were several activists, 4 of them in fact, who were cited for touching the fences, for being too close to the trucks, and they actually had to go to court.
Oh, wow.
They were let off. They had a great lawyer. But yeah, if you cross onto their property, you can easily be arrested.
Yeah, there's a famous saying that if slaughterhouses had glass walls, the whole world would be vegan, right? I changed the last word a little
I
bit,
know you did.
but it's okay. We know what he meant. So do you think if they didn't have anything to hide, they wouldn't be buying public roads and blocking us off from getting footage and being transparent with the public,
They
right?
don't think they're hiding anything because
They
the
don't?
majority still likes to eat animals.
That's true.
You know, but I've also seen when you go into the back by the bike path, if a truck comes, you'll see body parts littering the streets.
Body parts littering the streets.
Littering the streets there. You'll smell the South Platte River, which stinks to high holy heaven.
Yeah, we walked past that on the way here. We could
Yeah.
smell it.
Yeah, and if the curtain is still ripped, you might even be able to look inside and see some of the future victims.
Has anyone ever approached the facility and asked to be allowed to go inside?
I don't know. That's a very good point.
Maybe we should try that. If they truly don't have a problem with what they're doing, then they should allow us to just walk inside, right?
Yeah, we've seen footage of actually the remains of some of these animals being loaded into a truck.
Okay.
It's absolutely horrific. I cry every time.
Well, we're about to congregate and get together and start walking. I appreciate you being out here. You're a hero. Thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I don't know if you can make it out in the distance, but you can see the body parts pouring out of that facility like a waterfall. Well, we weren't able to catch a truck coming into the facility, but hopefully, if you're watching this video and you're not yet vegan and you still pay for this, here's some vegan food for thought. Like multiple interviewees mentioned, these facilities only exist because of supply and demand. They would not exist if you didn't demand these products. If you stop paying for this, these facilities won't be able to operate. So you are paying for it. You are directly responsible for these facilities existing, for what they do to these animals, to these innocent animals, to these baby animals. So we just walked away from the slaughterhouse. We weren't able to capture a truck coming in. It seems that they outlasted us. We were there for about an hour. Why do we do these sorts of events? Why do we do vigils? Why are they important?
Well, it's important to remember the lives that are being lost and to respect those lives and try to do our best that we can to show an opposition, I guess.
Sure, yeah. And to share some of the footage that we capture with the
Absolutely.
public, with the people who fund these sorts of places, right?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
what kind of effects have you seen concerning the local communities?
So I've protested against a slaughterhouse in my own community. They haven't built it, but they were planning to build one. And so what I've done is a lot of research, including peer-reviewed articles. So there is evidence that the local communities are impacted greatly when compared to other similar communities without slaughterhouses. They're impacted with more violent crime, which that's not really shocking. And one of those instances is a lot more sexual assaults as well. It's kind of like what we talk about. Speciesism is tied to all sorts of isms. All forms of oppression come from not valuing certain lives the same. So
Sure, you're setting the precedent with a non-human animal,
yes,
right? And you're becoming immune to murder and to rape, right? They call it, they use euphemisms, but
yeah,
that's what's going on behind these walls right here.
yeah.
Do you think if you know that famous saying where if slaughterhouses had glass walls, yada yada, do you think if the public could see what actually happens beyond these walls, do you think change would happen more rapidly?
I think if people weren't so desensitized to it, absolutely, because whenever you buy, packaged body parts from the store, you're not thinking about who that came from or how that happened. You just kind of assume that they lived a good life and now they're on your plate, but that's not how that happens at all.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for being out here. You are a hero. Keep doing what you're doing.
You too.
We're standing on the backside of the slaughterhouse right now. You can hear these babies scream out for someone to help them. But the laws protect these places. This is all we can do to help them. And if you're still paying for this, if you're still apathetic to this, you wouldn't be if you were in their position. So why do you keep supporting it? If the shoe was on the other foot, you wouldn't be supporting it. You'd be grateful that we were out here speaking up for you. But because they're non-human animals, because they're not part of your species, you find it laughable. And you continue to keep paying for it. And you continue to be blind, and you continue to be willfully ignorant. And it's despicable. It needs to stop. These places only exist because you fund them with your hard-earned dollar. Shame on you for that. So you had mentioned to me that you were out here for your first time, right? This is not just your first time here at this facility, but your first vigil?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about your experience?
Well, we were out front and showing our signs and, letting any passing cars that don't know what's here know. We're here at Superior Farms, and right now we've just moved around to the bike path. There's a mesh area here where you can see through into the holding pens where they're loading the sheep up.
Were you able to see any animals?
I was able to see a large number of sheep in there, all kind of getting herded onto this single file ramp, a chute going up to the kill floor, I assume.
Yeah, and you mentioned they were being herded, right? They're being sort of forced into this facility.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to be there, right?
No,
they don't go in willingly.
Yeah, and there's a guy in there with a stick who's whacking them to try to get them to go in there.
Ah, I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, it was-
Sort of like a human. If you were forcing them towards their death, right, they would resist.
Yeah.
We have so many similarities. It's so important for us to focus on those similarities rather than our differences.
It's true.
Do you think if this place was more transparent and they actually showed what happened behind these walls, do you think change would happen more rapidly within society?
I think that it would, and I think you could say that about any of these facilities, not just this one, but if you're in Denver, the bike path that runs through Globeville is where we're standing. You can see straight in and see the holding pens where they bring the sheep before they kill them. So I urge you to take a look, because this one does have a transparent wall.
Okay, and what can the average person do to take a stand against these sort of facilities?
Yeah, I mean, stop paying for it. Stop buying.
Bam.
Stop buying the meat. Stop paying for it. Stop buying animal products. It's supply and demand. You don't need to be eating it. You don't need to be paying for it. And if you're not paying for it, then they won't make any money doing it, so it'll stop.
Right.
And if you're in Denver, we are working on a slaughterhouse ban. ballot initiative, a citizen-led ballot initiative.
Where can people go to take part in that?
Proanimalfuture.org or proanimal.org, I think is the website.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll link it below and put it in the video here. Thank you so much for being out here. You are a hero. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks.
Cheers.
I'm Red Pill Pete out here. If you haven't caught him, he's filming me, but he's tune in on YouTube. He's doing some recording and documenting of everything that we have going on out here today. So,
This isn't your first vigil,
No,
but this is your
isn't.
first time here at this facility, correct?
Yes, it is.
And have you seen anything today that differentiates this place from other facilities, or do they all seem like just across the board murder facilities where they don't like accountability and transparency, where they try to hide these things from the public?
No.
Or do you see something different?
No, clearly they're trying to hide from the public. They have screens up here so we can't see what's going on behind these walls. We know the babies are there. We know they're being loaded into to a needless murder over here. Some different things that I've seen today that I haven't seen before. The workers walking out with blood-soaked clothing, just going off to eat like they, just another day at the office.
Another day at the office.
Yeah, I've never seen the chute that they have out front where the body parts are coming out, which is very disturbing to know. I'm hearing that somebody put a head of a lamb out here on the table, which is just unthinkable. I mean,
Yeah, and it's some of these, I mean, all of them have to be somewhat desensitized, but a lot of them are working here because they can't find, or they claim they can't find other employment, right? But there are a good portion of workers here who actually enjoy this line of work. And the average person is against slitting an animal's throat. So I find it really odd that they would pay someone to happily slit an animal's throat.
I couldn't imagine doing that job.
Yeah.
We were actually doing some canvassing in Gainesville, Florida, talking to the community about they were going to build a slaughterhouse at the Newberry Environmental Park, and when we canvassed the area and talked to the people in the community, all of them mostly animal eaters, they were all against having this facility in their neighborhood. We asked if they would be interested in doing a job like this. All of them were no.
But they don't mind paying someone else to do the dirty work for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So nobody wants to see these places. Nobody wants them in their neighborhoods. They don't want to know about it. They just want to pick them up in the packages that they see at the store and be totally, shut off from what happens to the animals and the suffering that they go through before they end up on their plate.
Yeah. If these locals really want to align their actions with their morals, what can they do about it? What's the simplest thing they can do to take action against facilities like this?
Well, they can go vegan. They can also join with our friends here at proanimals.org and help with the petition to ban slaughterhouses within Colorado. This is the only facility here, and they kill between 1,000 and 2,000 babies a day.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, if they wanted to get active, they can go vegan and help out with this petition. These babies need it. They definitely deserve it. I couldn't imagine being born into this world with a death date on my head.
Yeah.
And, it's really sad.
Yeah. It doesn't seem possible, but thank you so much for what you're doing, and thank you for being out here. Keep doing what you're doing. You are a hero.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Cheers. So you've been doing this for a long time now. This isn't your first vigil. Have you noticed anything different, though, about today?
I mean, not especially, because I feel like at all of these vigils that we do, we see workers who aren't in good conditions. We see poor innocent animals who just want to live, being hauled in and put into pens. But what I do think is different is that this is right on the bike trail, pretty much. Right here in not too good of a area and in one of the most polluted zip codes in America. It's right here for the public to see. And it's just really sad because if you look over, you see these poor baby lambs, and then you see what they call, I believe, a Judas goat or a Judas lamb, which is an adult who's there, who's going to lead them in, not knowing that they're leading them to die, and who does that over and over again. It's very sad to see, and it's right here, and I feel like it needs to be shut down. This isn't good for the workers, this isn't good for the animals, obviously. This isn't good for just the people who live around here.
Do you think they would put a facility like this in a higher socioeconomic status area?
I don't think so.
And why do you think they put them in areas like this?
They're taking advantage of them because they know that these people aren't going to do anything about it. And it's just not right. They're taking advantage of these people.
Yeah, they take advantage of the people, they take advantage of the animals, and all for what? For $1, for profit.
For money.
Yep. All right, well, thank you so much for being out here. You are a hero. Keep doing what you're doing.
Keep doing what you're doing. Go vegan.
That's what I was just going to ask you. Where is Sarah?
We have lyric sheets, and if you want to grab an ear tag to wear as well, we can grab your
Go
shade
vegan.
right outside it.
We are exceptional primates in more ways than one. We have such capacity for evil, and we have such capacity for love. It doesn't make sense how it can be so polarizing, how we can show such great emotion and positivity and empathy, and then be so dark and evil and turn a blind eye to the suffering of others for our own personal gain. It's truly mind-blowing, but this injustice will not last forever. It cannot last forever. It's on the ballot to shut these sorts of places down. It is coming, hopefully within my lifetime. I'll stay hopeful and I'll stay active. Please, if you have not gone vegan already, do so. And if you have not gotten active already and you want a vegan world more quickly like I do, then get active.
Vigo!
It starts with this protest. It starts with Pro-Animal Colorado collecting signatures for a chance to ask a single question.
This measure is designed to give Denver voters a chance to say, you know, what kind of world are we trying to create?
Pro-Animal Colorado doesn't want this slaughterhouse in Denver. Really though, they don't want it anywhere.
This is definitely not just about trying to move it somewhere else. This is trying to say, you know, we're going to take the first step and we're going to, you know, invite everyone else to come along with us.